fiddler day and night. He fiddles when it rains, he fiddles when it snows. I've never seen him rest, yet on and on he goes. What does it mean, this fiddler on the roof, who fiddles every night and fiddles every noon? Why should he pick so curious a place to play his little fiddler's tune? An unexpected breeze could blow him to the ground, yet after every storm, I see he's still around. Whatever each day brings, this oddish man, he plays a simple tune as sweet as he can. What does it mean, this fiddler on the roof, who fiddles every night and fiddles every noon? Why should he pick such a curious place to play a little fiddler's tune? A fiddler on the roof, a most unlikely sight. It might not mean a thing, but then again it might. Oh, here is my father Tevye, and he has a story to tell you. And since he is such a good storyteller, I am sure you will want to hear this story.
I am Tevye. It's been said of me that I may not look like your milkman, or even like a star on the stage. But wherever you live, there is a Tevye. It does not matter whether your village is a towering apartment block in the middle of a concrete jungle, or a collection of huts in the African bush. Somewhere there is Tevye, a man who stands tall from all the rest. The remarkable thing it is said about Tevye is that though he springs from Jewish folklore and the tales of Shalom al-Shaim, the famous Yiddish writer, his appeal is both immediate and universal. The genius of the writer Shalom al-Shaim was that he used the background of Jewish folklore and humor as a frame to see the general problems of a father, a husband, a member of the minority group. All the problems and experiences that are meaningful to Tevye are universal ones. Fiddler on the Roof is a story of a small Jewish village in the Russian Ukraine in the time of the Tsars, where ordinary people live, making the best of a not very encouraging set of circumstances. The village and the people could be anywhere in the world. Everywhere its sincerity and humanity have been instantly recognized, and anyone can quickly identify with the common problems such a man as Tevye. Now, you will have to excuse our low production costs that we were allowed to use. In fact, I went down to buy another pair of pants like this, and the producer said, "No, 7 rubles is too much to pay for those pants. Give them back." So I did. And then we had another problem with the Fiddler on the Roof. We were trying to get insurance through Tri-West Insurance Company, and they just wanted all kinds of safety devices. OSHA should come in and check it out to see if it's right, and they insisted on a safety net, and so that's why you did not hear the Fiddler on the Roof playing. We were left out of that. We need a piano player down here. The theme song for Fiddler on the Roof, as played by daughter Hannah, will set the stage for the rest of the story. you, daughter Hannah. Anatevka. There's the talk that we all might be forced, not invited, but forced to leave our town just because someone decreed it. So what is our town that is so important for somebody else to have it? To us, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a pot, a pan, a bench, a tree. So what? A stick of wood, a piece of cloth. What do we leave? Nothing much, only Anatevka. Anatevka, Anatevka, underfed, overworked Anatevka. Where else could Sabbath be so sweet? Anatevka, Anatevka, intimate, obstinate Anatevka, where I know everyone I meet. Soon it may be that I'll be a stranger in a strange place, searching for an old familiar face from Anatevka. I belong in Anatevka, tumble down, work a day, Anatevka, dear little village, little town of mine.
If he were a rich man, daddle deedle daddle digga digga deedle daddle dum. All day long he'd biddy biddy bum. If he were a wealthy man, wouldn't have to work hard. Daddle deedle daddle digga digga deedle daddle dum. If he were a biddy biddy rich, digga digga deedle daddle dum. He'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen, right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with real wooden floors below. There'd be one long staircase just going up, and one even longer coming down, and one more leading nowhere just to show. He'd fill the yard with chicks and turkeys and geese, and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as it can, and each loud quack and cluck, gobble and honk will land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man.
sometimes there are compensations to make up for our miserable experience in existence. By some miracle, 5 daughters have been born to me. One son would have been nice. Have you ever lived with 6 women in the house? Boy, all wanting things the way they want it to be? But as I said, there are compensations. Sometimes we can have them get married to a man that is richer than I am. This is where the matchmaker comes into the picture. Here in our town, Anatevka, we have a widow lady, Yenta, the matchmaker. She has never had any children of her own, but she's supposed to know who will go with who, and of course expects a generous fee if she finds a prosperous groom for our daughters. She has been busy rounding up prospects for our oldest daughter, Seidel, and I hear much whispering going on about this man and that man making a good match. It's given a lot of tongue wagging to our daughters about what their future holds. Here's what Seidel had to say about the subject. Seidel comes down here and tell us all about the matchmaker.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me catch. Matchmaker, matchmaker, look for your book and make me the perfect match. Matchmaker, matchmaker, I'll bring the veil, you bring the groom, slender and pale. Bring me a ring, for I'm longing to be the envy of all I see. For Papa, make him a scholar, for Mama, make him rich as a king. For me, well, I wouldn't holler if he were as handsome as anything. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me catch. Night after night in the dark I'm alone, so find me a match of my own. Matchmaker, matchmaker, you know that I'm still very young. Please take your time. Up to this minute I misunderstood that I could be stuck for good. Dear Mama, see that he's gentle. Remember you are all so bright. It's not that I'm sentimental, it's just that I'm terrified. Matchmaker, matchmaker, find me no plans, find me no rush. Maybe I've learned playing with matches a girl can get burned. So bring me no ring, bring me no groom, find me no find, catch me no catch, unless he's a matchless match.
We get another version from Perchik, who has been visiting here from Kiev. Since he is a teacher, I have arranged for him to give lessons to my 5 daughters while he is here. He seems to be well read in books, but I often disagree with him about his politics. He's got some radical idea that are going to get him in trouble someday. He's been talking too much to my second oldest daughter, Hubble. I'll have to keep him busy doing other things.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make her a match. Find her a find, catch her a catch. Matchmaker, matchmaker, look through your book and make her a perfect match. Matchmaker, matchmaker, we'll bring the veil, you bring the groom, slender and pale. Bring her a ring, for she's longing to be the envy of all she'll see. For Papa, make him a scholar, for Mama, make him rich as a king. For her, well, she wouldn't holler if he were as handsome as anything. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make her a match. Find her a find, catch her a catch. Night after night in the dark she's alone, so find her a match of her own. So bring her a ring, groom her a groom, find her a find, catch her a catch, and make her a matchless match.
What will be, will be. One thing has to be honored in this life. Each must live according to the custom, to tradition. It has been this way for all our forefathers, and now for us. The children must respect the parents' rights and live according to the holy book. All are guided in life by the ways of life in our village, by the rules, by tradition. When parents make a decision about the children's future, or in apprentice choosing, in marriages, and in strict manner of respecting the Sabbath, everyone has a responsibility, the only way, tradition. Okay, our daughter Seidel will give another rendition of what tradition means.
Who day and night must scramble for a living, feeding his wife and children. Say his daily prayers, who has the right, as master of the house, to have the final word at home. The papa tradition, the papa tradition. Who must know the way to make a proper home, a quiet home, a not home. Who must raise a family and run the home so papa's free to read the holy book. The mama tradition, the mama tradition. And who does the mama teach to mend and tend and fix, preparing me to marry whoever papa picks? The daughter tradition, the daughter's tradition.
Next part. It seems that my wife Goldie has been conspiring with the matchmaker Yenta to find a match for Seidel. And she says I'm supposed to go and have a talk with Lazar Wolf, the butcher and richest man in town. She didn't say why, but maybe he wants to buy my little cow. So I go to see him and offer her to him, but he seems not interested. So I offer him a chance to have two. He seems puzzled and answered, "What would I do with two?" Then he says that since his wife died, he's been very lonely, and that since my daughter Seidel has been coming into his butcher shop, he thinks she would make a good match for him. Now it's beginning to make sense to me. But then I'm thinking, if this happens to come true, then my son-in-law will be as old as I am. But a few drinks of his good whiskey begins to make the deal seem better all the time. After all, he is the richest man in town and owns the butcher shop. My Seidel will never starve. It's not missed my eyes that Seidel's been seeing a lot of Macho, the tailor. He's been muttering about having enough money to buy a real sewing machine so he can make clothes faster and better. But I had to tell Seidel the next morning that she is to marry Lazar Wolf, the butcher. Ah, such a scene she made, crying, begging, persuading, and asking me not to throw away her life with an old man. She says if I love her, I wouldn't make her marry the butcher. And when she said, but Papa, I love Macho and want to live my life with someone who loves me too, my heart broke and I promised to break the contract. But now to tell Goldie, oy. Then I have to tell you that tradition is having a hard time in my house. They say times are changing and we have to be willing to change too. Perchik and Hubble are spending a lot of time together. Now comes along this young man, Jenka, the Catholic, who's been loaning some books to Hannah all about this other Messiah from Nazareth. I think it's going to take a miracle for me to keep out of trouble with Goldie when I told her about Seidel and her tailor instead of the butcher. Uh-oh, I think she heard me say something about a miracle. She's usually got a lot to say before she gets to the point, but I'll just have to listen.
Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, God took a Daniel once again, stood by his side, and miracle of miracles,